Actually, Steven called me. We had another project that we were getting ready to go do, and Steven called me to tell me that it was on hold. He was like kind of a stop the presses phone call, and he said, "I just read Scott's new script." He said, "I think it's the best thing Scott's ever written," which is saying a lot. I mean, I did The Informant, and Scott also wrote one of the writers on The Bourne Ultimatum. Like, I've worked with Scott a lot, and I think very highly of him, and so to get like this call from Steven saying, "I think this is the best thing Scott's done," you know, I was like, well, hell, man, send it over. So he sent it over with a note that said, "Read this, then wash your hands," and I read it, and I just loved it. I thought it was a terrific, really exciting, really believable pandemic, thriller. I thought it was just great, and but with this kind of emotional heart to it, and so it was a pretty easy kind of yes for me. My whole storyline is, my wife dies and my stepson dies, and so my daughter is the only surviving family member, and as a dad, I could really relate to this guy, and I think audiences will be able to relate to him because it's, what do you do in that situation, and his agenda is very simple and very, he's just trying to survive this thing and keep his daughter safe and alive, and as the world is kind of starting to fall apart around him, it's pretty elemental stuff. All the research that they did was really just in trying to kind of gin up a story that was as realistic as possible, and so this is like very, very real. It's my sixth movie with him, and I just I'm anytime I get a chance to work with him, it's really great. I learn a ton every time I work with him, but it's also just fun, and he's got the same crew that he works with. It's a really tight knit group, and it's just really fun to go to work. And we work hard, but it's a very satisfying feeling. I mean, with Steven, he shoots on digital, so by the end of the day, he's cutting what you shot that day. And so, like, we would go down to the hotel bar, and they set aside a little room in the back for us. And we'd go and sit down, and it would be Scott and Steven and Greg Jacobs and Stacy and Schamberg, like the producers, and we'd sit down and kind of shoot the breeze while Steven put his headphones on and started working on his laptop, and we'd talk for a little while, and about an hour later Steven would go, "Okay," and he'd pull his headphones off and he'd turn the computer around and he'd show us the cut scene that we'd done that day. So it's really a luxury as an actor. You always know what movie you're in. Nothing's a surprise to you. You're a part of the decision-making process. He gives you enough information so that you can really do your best stuff.